So looking at the graph, so you will observe that the point A, if we trace it to the line like this, so you observe that it will lead to 3 on the y-axis, and if you trace it down to the x-axis, it will lead to point 2. So when you want to label it, you label the point as x comma y, that is 2 comma 3. So that's for A. Now looking at point B, if you trace point B to the y-axis, it will give you -3, and you trace it to the x-axis. The x-axis is the horizontal axis like this. It will give you -1. So that's -1 will come first, so that will be -1 comma -3 for point B. Now, so that is why we say B is equal to -1 comma -3. Now C, this is point C here. If you trace it to the x-axis, horizontal axis, it gives you 2, comma, if you trace it to the y-axis, it gives you -2. So that is 2 comma -2. So that is for point C, 2 comma -2. Now for point D, this is point D here. Point D, trace it to the x-axis, that is -2, and then to the y-axis, it will be -3. So that is why D is -2 comma -3. Now point E, here is point E here. If you trace it, point E is already on the x-axis. So if it is on the x-axis, where is it on the x-axis? It is on 3. So that 3 is the x. If you now trace it to the y-axis, it will lead to 0. So whenever a point is on the x-axis, it will be 0 on y-axis. And if a point is on the y-axis, it will be 0 on the x-axis. So in this case, 0 for y-axis, 3 for x-axis. So that is 3 comma 0. So that is why point E here is 3 comma 0. Now point F. Point F is on the y-axis at the point -3. So that means if you trace it to the x-axis, it will be at 0. So F is going to be 0, 0 comma -3. So 0 for x-axis, -3 for y-axis. So that is how to locate points on the Cartesian graph.